Kerry. Neil, and Diane, and Roger from Texas.
Hello.
Andy, Ron, Joe, Donna, Rory, and Joe Curto. Welcome to you too, Joe. Yonkers Tennis. Dwight, Kathleen Stack, Joe Stout. We got Parks going. David and more. Bill Malcolm Putnam. Hi, Bill. Janet. Keeping those arts alive for us. Thank you. Oliver. Dennis. Susie. Richard. Hi, Richard. Ginger. Hi, Wendy. David Hoffman. Great. Ruoff, Bruce, Joe, Laura, Natasha. See you. Kathy. John Vecchiola. Can't wait till you're taking our pictures again, John. We missed you. Fred and Jean Connolly. Bill Powers, Sam, Chris. So good to see everyone. Hey, I'm just okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I feel like you're all doing the virtual walk into the room and we're saying hello and you're stopping and getting your name tags at the registration table. It's good to see you all and seeing you looking hopefully healthy and well with your family and your teams at work. And it's also very satisfying and hopeful to be hosting the Business Council of Westchester's first town meeting and the first town meeting virtually ever. So, so welcome. It's exciting to have this virtual town hall meeting. And I just want to give you a little bit of background as to how this came to be. In recognition of the heavy toll that this COVID-19 pandemic has taken on the economy of Westchester, the Business Council of Westchester, through our Coalition for Smart Development, has created the Westchester Economic Recovery Task Force. And the task force is charged with the development and implementation of a strategic plan for providing coordinated assistance to businesses as the county's economy reemerges. Members include leading real estate developers who originally and continue to serve on our Coalition for Smart Development and drive this process, and representatives from other key economic sectors. We've really wanted to make this a very inclusive process, and that's the reason for this town hall meeting today. And the task force's mission, of course, is fully consistent with the Business Council's focus on economic development and advocacy. And I hope you've seen since the beginning of this crisis our tireless work on behalf of all of our members and all of the businesses in Westchester County, so we can all emerge from this crisis. This is a town hall meeting. We're here to listen to you. We're not here to provide answers, but our goal is to gather recommendations and deliver those recommendations to the governor's task force as well as our county executive. And it's my privilege now to turn this over to my colleague at the Business Council of Westchester, John Ravitz, who is our Executive Vice President and Chief Operating Officer, to moderate this town hall. John?
Thank you, Marsha. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for taking time out to be with us this afternoon. Hoping all of you and your families and employees are safe. As Marsha said, this is a town hall meeting that is being hosted by the BCW's Westchester Economic Recovery Task Force. We have 44 members of our task force, all from different sectors, who are volunteering their time, their expertise to this. But today was a chance for us to send an invitation out to all of the Business Council of Westchester members who wanted the opportunity in 90 seconds to really brief us on, again, as they think about reemerging and reopening in Westchester County, what the need, what the want, and what the wish is. Can you, Marsha, can you hold on 1 second, please? Thanks. I'll be right back with you.
Sure, and I know there were about 20 people who wound up in a different Zoom link. So I hope they're all—
I'm back, thank you. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Back. Sorry about that. So again, this is an opportunity for folks who really can, in 90 seconds, give us a thumbnail sketch of, again, what you and your colleagues are thinking about in terms of the need, the want, and the wish. You know, I don't know if any of you saw Peggy Noonan's op-ed this week, but as she dedicated it to the reemergence of businesses. And she said something that I think is so true. She said, the first thing that we must do is unleash the creativity of businessmen and businesswomen, an uncalled on brigade in this battle. Not only doctors and scientists will get us out of this, businesses must be on the front lines. And that's really what the task force has been set up to do. And that's what hopefully today we'll get some good solid recommendations from all of you as well. We are going to, in the invitation, we asked those of you who wanted to speak to indicate that in the registration. We have done that, and we have about 31 people who have asked to speak. If we have time, and you did not register to speak but would like to speak, please put your name and your company in the chat room. I will then go to that chat room and we'll start, if we do have time, going through some of the folks who have now signed up to speak. Please also know, again, that we're not going to have follow-up questions or anything like that. At this point, it's really an opportunity for you to give a statement as you would at any type of town hall meeting as well. Not to be a pain, but I did have a new creative toy. This is a little stopwatch. You won't see this while you're speaking, but I will. And I'm going to reset it every time for 90 seconds. So again, I don't want to have to cut anybody off, but we want to try to get to as many people as possible. So what I will be doing is calling the first 3 speakers, so you'll know what order you're in. And then I'll also be calling the 4th speaker to say that you're on deck. And I'll repeat that, you know, as we go to that 4th speaker, the next. So if for any reason you signed up to speak, you did not hear your name called, or I called on you, or something, you came on late, again, put your name in the chat room and we will do that as well. So without any further ado, our first 3 speakers will be Adriane Geiger, Sean Meade, and Joe Apicella. Adriane?
And John, why don't you ask if everyone can identify the name of their company also?
Yes, thank you, Marsha. Yeah, if people could give us the name of your company, that would be appreciative. Is Adriane ready to go?
Here I am.
Okay, Adriane, it's all yours. Go ahead.
The company that I am with is A Dignified Life. We are elder care advocates. We work with seniors and their families, helping them navigate day to day and certainly through this crisis. My question was, I'm hearing all kinds of suggestions and new rules coming down from the governor, and especially in Westchester where I'm based. Do you have any indication as to when assisted living facilities and independent will open? We keep hearing about nursing home. We have so many clients that are on lockdown that we can't reach other than on a phone, that we need help. So that's my question and plea.
Okay, thank you very much. Again, for anyone who has questions as part of their statement, we will get back to you with answers as we have them. And again, what we're hoping is we'll get some, again, ideas, needs, wishes, and wants that you want for your business to reopen. Our next speaker is Sean Meade.
Thank you.
Yeah, hi, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Sean Meade. I'm the general manager at the Cambria Hotel and also the president of the Westchester Hotel Association. For us, it's pretty simple. We need to, on a macro level, instill consumer confidence again and get people to start traveling. Specifically, hospitality and tourism, we're probably amongst the hardest hit sectors so far. We need to conserve our cash and figure out ways to keep cash positive so we can continue to operate. Once we run out of cash, that's it for us. So some of our hotels have suspended operations already and are looking to resume, July, August. Some of the smaller hotels like ourselves are staying open for as long as we can. We also need some help with marketing. That's going to be a key success factor for us. Additional tourism funding to overcome challenges and get people to feel comfortable with traveling back to Westchester County. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. Joe Apicella? Is Joe on? Okay. If Joe joins us later, we'll call on him. Our next three speakers, and again, I hope I do not butcher names. And again, as Marsha said, please, when you start your statement, please identify the company that you're from. Rachel Carpitella, Andrew Castellano, and Joe Curto. So Rachel, the floor is yours.
Thanks, John. I work with Sustainable Westchester, and we're a local nonprofit. We're a consortium of 44 member municipalities across Westchester County. And our goal is to create both economically and socially responsible programs, all of which can result in creating more resilient and healthy communities. So I'm here maybe not to ask a question, but to state how we see clean energy and energy efficiency being part of the solution as we reopen the economy in Westchester County. So I'd like to mention that our programs include Westchester Power, Community Solar, and Heat Smart Commercial Clean Heating and Cooling Solutions. In addition, we have a clean transportation program as well as a zero waste initiative. And a big part of the work that we do is innovating the next generation of solutions. So all of these solutions are geared to creating economic benefit to municipalities, residents, and businesses, whether it's for cost stability or and control through our fixed electric supply, savings through community solar, or opportunities for job creation and economic development through our innovative clean energy programs.
Thanks, Rachel.
Yeah.
We appreciate that. And obviously, one of our big priorities at the Business Council of Westchester pre-COVID and will be post-COVID is the changing energy landscape in Westchester County and how that's going to affect the business community. So we had scheduled our energy conference in March, which was postponed. We hope to have it again in the fall, and Sustainable Westchester will certainly be part of that as well. Andrew Castellano, are you ready to go?
Ready. Can you hear me?
All
Thanks.
right. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm with Trans World Business Advisors and Brokers. I have the Westchester County territory. We're a national franchise with over 200 offices and 500 brokers nationwide. And our clients are struggling with access to capital. I think you've heard all the problems with respect to government programs. So the idea that I'd like to put before the task force is a holding company structure. We have interested buyers in this. The idea is that the holding company, it's a proven structure, and it works because it provides diversification, provides lenders with high credit risk, high credit, low credit risk, and it provides attractive return for investors. It's been proven. The holding company has been used over and over again. The ideal candidates in this holding company, which could provide the capital to these businesses, would be businesses with strong community brand, good operating economics, ideal locations, and the strategy could be deployed to any industry: retail, restaurants, services, hospitality. The list is endless. So no one could be left behind in the structure. It's a classic model, holding company, sort of three-legged stool model. where you'd have equity investors, maybe some SBA lenders, and of course government involvement, which we think which would be the glue to it all. So I'd like to pursue that with the task force. All the stakeholders in the holding company structure would be involved in the management and governance of the holding company.
All right, Andrew, I'm gonna thank you very much, and we will definitely be in touch. Our next three speakers are Joe Curto, Mike Dardano, and Neil DeLuca. Joe, are you ready? Joe Curto? Okay, I had heard he had signed on, so we'll come back to Joe after Neil. Mike Dardano.
Hello.
Mike?
Hello, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yep, go ahead, Mike.
Okay,
Please
great. Thank you. Hello, everyone. 2 points I have. One is I think it's imperative that as a group, we collectively think of ways to lower costs of doing business. We're going to have issues with budgets and things of that nature from the federal, state, and local level. And we need to be very smart and direct with our elected officials on how we can lower costs. Instead of worrying about raising costs, there's always things that seem to be pushed in Albany that are about raising costs. We need to lower costs. So I think that's important collectively. And I'm sure we have plenty of ideas on that. Second thing is I'd like to compliment Natasha Caputo for what she does with tourism. And I think that effort that she does to promote tourism, both intra-county and outside of Westchester, is something that we as a business community should try to do on all levels. That includes government, that includes politicians, and that includes business groups. The Business Council has been wonderful in promoting all sorts of business during the crisis, whether they're members or not. I think that's very magnanimous and important, and we need to focus on buying and shopping local, but sort of have almost like an I love New York type of theme to it, where I shop Westchester, or I buy Westchester, or I support Westchester, something like that, even from developers who own buildings to promote the businesses that are in their buildings. Some kind of an effort that's sort of like the I love New York thing would be, over the course of time, would be excellent and should be something we should be doing on a sustained basis.
Thank you, Mike. And again, I failed to mention that the task force will also certainly be sending recommendations to both county and state and federal government on things that government can do to assist us, as well as things that we hope they will not do, which could cause and put more obstacles in the way of businesses. So Mike, thanks for that. Neil DeLuca, are you ready to go?
Yes, I am, and I have my phone here, John, as well.
Go ahead.
All right, Neil DeLuca from DeLuca Group. I speak with 20 years in government and about the same in the private sector. So I've had equity in deals, I've been a consultant, and I've been a city manager where I looked about money. My view is that I believe Ms. Noonan is right. We need business, men and women, to lead us out of what's going on. My ideas are going to sound crazy, John, but if I told you November 1st of last year that we'd have 100,000 Americans die and maybe 25% of them out of work, you'd think I was crazy. So here goes my pet peeves for my whole life. 1, no more special interests. Make them illegal. 2, term limits. If you can't get it done in 6 years, get out. You see what happens at the federal and state government. One feeds the other. 3, no exceptions to the 2% tax cap. None. If you can't do it by raising 2%, you're the wrong men and women for the job. 4, being a developer, a comprehensive review of all local planning and zoning with an independent board, not a political body, to make the final decisions. Political bodies cannot do it. And things have snuck in during the years that thwart developers from making money. If we aren't allowed to make our 12% return on our investment, then government won't have the money to pay cops, firefighters, teachers, all those heroes you saw on television the last 3 months. We need to make money to give government the money they need. Finally.
All right. Oh, go. I'll give you your finally.
No unfunded mandates anymore. We have a chance to redo our government. Let's go for it now. Thank you, Jake.
Thank you, Neil. Did Joe Curto, was he able to unmute himself? Is he still on? Okay, Joe, sorry if there's a problem. Our next three speakers will be Kai Fisher, Susan Fox, and John Habib. So Kai, if you're ready to go. And again, folks, please introduce yourselves and your company. Kai? Okay, Kai, I don't know if you're muted or not.
Yes, I was. This is Kai Bryan. I'm from the Women's Empowerment Institute of Westchester.
Okay, I was calling on Kai Fisher from the Hilton Westchester.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. Is Kai Fisher from the Hilton Westchester on?
Yeah, hi, how are you guys?
Oh, okay, Kai, go ahead.
Hard to hear you.
Okay, Kai, you're ready. Go ahead. Okay, we'll have to come back to Kai. Susan Fox?
Yes, good afternoon. I'm Susan Fox with the Westchester Institute for Human Development. We serve individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities and children in child welfare. And I'm representing the not-for-profit community on the task force. I chair the not-for-profit council of the Business Council. My top points I want to make is to make sure that not-for-profits are included in any of the financial or other resources that are made available. We represent really every sector of the economy and are critical to any reopening, providing healthcare, education, childcare, nutrition, housing, safety, arts and entertainment. We're critical to a healthy and safe reopening. My number one ask is that we continue access across all payers for telehealth, telemedicine. That's been a godsend to my organization particularly, but at many organizations in being able to continue to provide services. Both Medicaid and Medicare issued emergency rules allowing for telehealth. New York has been really way behind in implementing telehealth. So I'm hoping that that will continue beyond the emergency orders. Most nonprofits, their largest expense is in personnel. So really looking at protections for workers, both, I really talk about we have to make both our employees and our clients, customers feel safe coming back to whatever services we're providing. And that means having appropriate PPE, cleaning, disinfecting, sanitizing, making sure that that's available to all organizations. And that not-for-profits are going to be really critical to any reopening. So really hoping that with all of the budget constraints that we're going to be facing over the next year, that not-for-profits aren't seen as an easy place to make those cuts, because we're critical to the healthy reopening of the economy. So
okay.
Most important.
Susan, thank you, and thank you for your leadership. John Habib, are you ready to go? John Habib? Okay, we're going to keep moving forward because we do have people who have signed up on the chat room too, so we want to get to them as well. Our next three speakers are Richard Haggerty, Nikki Hahn, and Bud Hammer. Richard, if you're ready to go.
I'm ready to go. Thanks, John. Richard Haggerty, CEO of the Hudson Gateway Association of Realtors. We've got 12,000 members in the Lower Hudson Valley. We are able to practice real estate right now virtually. What we need is in-person showings. We can do in-person showings following all the safety protocols, limiting 2 purchasers in a property, practicing social distancing. But at the end of the day, we have a lot of prospective purchasers who want to move to Westchester County. We want to bring their tax dollars to Westchester County. Last year, New York State collected over $3.2 billion off of real estate transactions. even if those folks start entering into contracts in June, it'll be another 2 or 3 months before they actually close. So the sooner we can get in-person showings so buyers and new residents can move to Westchester, the better off we're all going to be.
Great. Thank you very much, Richard. And thank you also for being on the task force as well. Nikki Hahn?
Sure. Hi, my name is Nikki Hahn. Thank you, BCW, for hosting this town hall meeting. I'm with the Women's Enterprise Development Center, and we have been working around the clock to help small business owners access much needed capital. We've been helping with loan application assistance for the PPP and the EIDL loans. Coming down the pipeline has been some conflicting information on loan forgiveness, and we appreciate all that the BCW has done to keep small business owners up to date on that information as it changes daily. And then I guess this is just a shout out for any small business owners, especially those solopreneurs who might need our assistance, to take a look at our website, www.wedcbiz.org. We have a tremendous amount of resources available to business owners right now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nikki. Our next 3 speakers are, well, let me just go back to the, did John Habib, was he able to? Okay. Our next 3 speakers will be Bud Hammer, Jeff Haydon, and Ann Jordan. Bud, if you're ready to go.
I'm ready, John. Thank you, everybody. My name is Bud Hammer. I own a company called Atlantic Westchester. We do commercial HVAC service. This coronavirus thing has certainly brought a renewed focus to HVAC and air quality in buildings that are occupied by the public, whether they're school districts, municipalities, office buildings, theaters, auditoriums, sporting venues, or whatever. So the one thing I will say to everybody on this call, whether you own a building or you occupy it, don't believe some of the snake oil that's being proposed out there as far as the magic bullet to kill the coronavirus. In my industry, they have not discovered that yet. There's been a lot of research, there's a lot of safeguarding that can be done, but it comes down to practice good hygiene, good sanitizing, and try to just be careful. Safety and security going back into buildings is going to be a very big topic, I think. So we're working on figuring out how we can provide that to building occupants and owners. The other thing, part of my life is spent on the board of the United Way of Westchester and Putnam. And there's been a tremendous focus on food insecurity, which are the people that live around us in the communities that work for many of our businesses. I'm hoping that they do not find elsewhere in the country to escape to where life may be a little bit easier. So that's just one thing I hope that the task force keeps in mind so that we can get a lot of these people back working.
Thank you very much, Bud. Jeff Haydon?
Hi, I'm Jeff Haydon. I'm the CEO for Caramore Center for Music and the Arts in Katona. Like some of the others who have spoken, getting in-person interactions is critical to reopening the economy. Staring at our computer screens all day certainly is not an effective substitute for inspiration and personal connections that come from going to conferences, performances, parks, restaurants, weddings, churches, you name it. A couple things that our industry would like to see is a shift from these arbitrary designations of businesses as essential and non-essential and phasing them back to providing just universal guidelines that we can apply to our own planning for responsible reopening. Things like restroom operations, cleaning, occupant density, workplace PPE. Shared expert guidance will reduce the redundant work that all of us are doing and help protect us from frivolous lawsuits. New solutions to these problems will obviously be developed, as John said, from the Peggy Noonan quote, from the creativity of all of us who are in the fields. Let's unleash the creativity of the fields to find solutions and not have them dictated to us so that we can find ways to, it's essential that we find ways to inspire this recovery. So thank you.
Jeff, thank you. And also thank you for your leadership on the task force as well. Ann Jordan? Oop, Ann, you just got to unmute yourself. There you go. There you go, Ann. How are you?
I'm good. I feel like it's so great to see 158 people, last check, on this. And some of you we were supposed to honor at some events, and we haven't forgotten you. And so thank you the Business Council for organizing this town meeting. I'm at the Westchester and Fairfield County Business Journal, and we could use everyone's help. We are, 5-6 years ago, we were producing 2 publications a week. We are now producing 28 emails a week to our readers. And so we are, working with the real estate. I echo Richard's point. I think if we can try to get some of the businesses from Westchester, from the city, looking for maybe some space up in Westchester and Fairfield, I think real estate people will feel better there. And we have, the Business Journal is about 400,000 impressions a month. If you are not getting our digital book list, let us know. And any ideas that you may have would be great. One thing I would ask the government, local, state, is just, a lot of the colleges too are our partners, and they're looking for making sure that we have testing. So if we can get more increased testing kits, I know a lot of people will feel more comfortable in the reopening. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you, Ann. Appreciate that. Our next 3 speakers will be Saffron Mayer, Jack Martinelli, and Leslie Messiah. Saffron, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, go ahead.
And someone is just calling me at the same time. But anyway, are you hearing me, guys?
Go ahead, Saffron. You're ready to go.
Yes. This is Saffron Mayer from the Signature Society of Westchester. We do fun events. We're the people who bring life and fun in Westchester County. We recently had to cancel 2 of our major events, which are indoor events at the Green Tree and at the Westchester Hilltown. But we have an event which is very special, which is outdoor. And luckily we had booked this event for in New Rochelle Park, Glen Island Park. This is a cute event where everyone will.
Saffron, I think we lost you.
So this event is on September 12th, and we're trying to have it going. So we're talking to the parks now, and we hope that we can bring some things safe there. We'll be doing social distancing, putting 200 tables on the lawn and spreading it out and using gloves and masks and whatever. So we hope to engage everyone, and this will be an event for civic and just a community so we can recognize our heroes and say thank you to everyone. So we hope to tell you more about this, and we hope to get it done. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Alrighty, Jack Martinelli. Jack, are you on? Okay. Leslie Messiah? Leslie, no? Alrighty, our next 3 speakers will be Nancy Miller, Sonia Montano, and Sean Murphy. Nancy?
Yes, I'm here, Nancy Miller. I'm the CEO of Vision Services for the Blind and Visually Impaired. And my request to the group is that as the guidance comes out on the different phases of opening, that there be specific examples. So where the governor has said phase 2 is professional services, is that specifically one-on-one? Is that small group? Giving examples will help us figure out where we fit in the guidance, particularly phase 4, which is large groups. We happen to do group training with small groups. So we want to figure out where we're going to fit in our reopening strategy. Thank you.
Nancy, thank you very much. Sonia Montano? Is Sonia on? Okay. Sean Murphy?
Yes, hi.
Wait, is it who? I'm sorry, is this Sonia?
Sonia Montano.
Okay, Sonia, go ahead. Please let us know where you're from.
Yes, I am the Vice President of Montano Wood Care Corp. And this is a wood and metal restoration company located in Yonkers. And we provide services to the New York metropolitan area, wood and metal restoration services. I am also the Vice President of the Westchester Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Well, I am now here because I am really waiting for this first phase of opening. We belong to Practically Construction, and we serve many buildings, like 1,000 buildings in the New York metropolitan area. The priority is in our industry is making sure that all the staff is healthy and is ready to work. And all the workers should wear the equipment to be ready, like the mask and gloves and everything for the managers to be comfortable. And and I am saying this because at this moment, we have received many phone calls from buildings because they have been like cleaning all the areas with sanitizing, and we cannot go and do the work. While other people from their computers, they are working, we have to physically go and work in the buildings. And during all these times, we just could not go and work, and means that we had zero income. So at this time, we just are waiting for the time to go to work. And while we have to make sure to follow the, let's say.
So yeah, I'm gonna need you to wrap up. Okay.
Yes, we will follow the proper certification, COVID-19 guidance. I think we have to be committed to health and safety. We could be able to go back to work soon. And another thing that since that we are talking right now, I also would like to say something. In this kind of industry like ours, that is, I think we can emphasize on keeping everything healthy and clean, and not only work, but keeping our mind in be healthy.
Okay, thank you very much, Sonia. We appreciate that.
Okay.
Is Sean Murphy on?
How about Michael Murphy?
Okay, I had you too, but I guess you'll talk for the real Murphy brothers, right?
Yeah.
Okay, Michael, it's all yours. Go ahead.
All right, thank you, John. Hello, everyone. I'm Mike Murphy with Murphy Brothers Contracting, representing Sean and Chris Murphy and the Murphy Brother crew. Back in March, the governor ordered a shutdown on private construction in New York State with a deadline to be reviewed this Friday, March 15th. We in the construction industry, we understand the severity of the pandemic situation, the need to slowly reopen business as usual. However, we've also seen in the past 6 weeks that thousands upon thousands of New York State construction workers on essential projects have followed established safety protocol with amazing success. We believe that professional private construction industry in Westchester County can also safely operate according to these safety guidelines with the same amazing results. We are encouraged that many of the BCW task force members have direct links to the private construction industry, and certainly any one of them could be making this case instead of Murphy Brothers Contracting. However, we ask you to urge Governor Cuomo to allow private construction to operate in Westchester County immediately after the May 15th deadline, as we also follow appropriate safety guidelines regarding COVID-19 on our job sites. We think this is an appropriate first step in safely reopening Westchester's economy. Thank you.
Michael, thank you very much. Our next three speakers will be Perry Ochacher, Benjamin Palancina, and Emily Peck. Perry, are you on?
Yeah, I'm here, John. How are you?
Go ahead, the floor is yours.
Thank you. First and foremost, I hope everyone is okay and healthy. I'm Perry Ochacher. I'm the president of Willett Public Affairs. We do state and local government relations, public affairs, also a practicing attorney in Westchester County. The message I'd like to deliver today is just a recognition that, as you know, or you may not know, the state legislature is actually not in session right now. They've authorized the ability to work remotely, but they've yet to return. That has not stopped them from introducing bills. There are presently several hundred bills pending regarding COVID. And many of these bills, best case scenario, are insensitive to business. And some of these bills are outright hostile to business interests. You probably also know that the legislature has taken a decidedly liberal left tact over the last year or so. And I think that the council and its members need to be cognizant of this, and to the extent possible, when talking to legislators, if you're on social media, letting them know that there needs to be a public input, there needs to be an opportunity to be heard on these bills, because our worst case scenario would be that the legislature decides to meet remotely for a week in the fall with very little opportunity for public input, and that, coupled with the governor's extraordinary powers, could mean potentially some of these bills could move very quickly without our input or our comment. So it's something that people can do individually when talking to folks that they know who are, work in the legislature, if they know elected officials that they may be interacting with, and obviously the business council. But people should know there's a lot of bills pending out there, and one push of a button and the legislature could start moving on them without our ability to input them, to comment on them. Thank you.
Perry, thank you. And just on that point, because I think it's an important one, as I said earlier, the goal of the task force is certainly to encourage government to be helpful when it can be to businesses, as well as, on the flip side, not putting barriers in the way. And Perry mentioned that there are a boatload of bills that have been drafted by members. We are reviewing those bills. We will be putting out memos of opposition to those bills, and sending them not just to our Westchester delegation members, but to the chairs of those committees, as well as the speaker and the majority leader and the governor. And we will continue to engage our members as well. We have a program through our advocacy program called Voter Voice, in which we've used many times, and many of you have assisted with us on that. If and when we see that a bill is going to be coming up that we think will not be helpful, we will ask you to engage in the Voter Voice program by just putting in your name and your zip code, as long as you agree with the message that we have already created for that specific subject. That email from you will go directly to your state senator, your assembly member, and to the governor. So again, we will make sure that we keep you all updated on that and ask for your help, certainly, as we move forward. Our next speaker is Benjamin Palancia. I'm sorry, Benjamin Palancia.
Yeah,
Benjamin,
you got it on the fourth try, John. It's okay.
All right, better than the sixth. Go ahead, Benjamin.
Hi, everybody. Ben Palancia, Palancia Insurance. We are a full-service insurance agency in Mamaroneck, mainly hard-to-place commercial insurance risks like construction, real estate, hospitality, things of that nature. So the main thing, obviously, going on for all of our clients is there business interruption coverage? Is there not? Business income coverage? And the answer really is no for almost everyone out there. And the misinformation out there is crazy. The politicians that have tried to talk about it have spoke about it incorrectly. So it'd be great if someone would take a stance and provide the actual information out there besides us insurance agents. So we just don't get calls for telling people there's no coverage. And then getting everybody back to work is everybody wants to be back to work. We insure all businesses, so every business owner wants to get back to work. So the concern is there going to be proper coverage for people coming back to work for liability concerns of restaurants? If people say they got sick at a restaurant, or they got sick on a job site for workers' compensation, or they got sick at a spa or something of that nature, all growing concerns. So we want to make sure everybody gets back safely and there's protections in place for businesses not to be sued.
Thank you very much, Ben. We appreciate that. Emily Peck.
Hi. Yep. It's Emily with Clay Art Center in Port Chester, New York. So I want to echo what some of the people have said about the arts already. We're all, I think there's a sort of misconception that we're all doing giant events with big audiences, and I think there's ways that we can all phase things in slowly and safely, even right now. And so both the change in the policies currently, where we're in phase 4, so that we can bring in some of our smaller programs, provide opportunities for people to get out of their houses safely and do things that aren't in large groups. I think that's really important right now. And so looking for guidance on that. And then I think following up on the liability issue that was just brought up, I think that's also a big concern also, is what do we need to do? What does liability look like? There was some info and policies that we need to come up with a liability plan. What does that mean, and what are we supposed to be coming up with would be helpful.
Great, Emily, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Our final 3 speakers, and these are the final 3 speakers who did register to speak, and then we will move to the chat room, are Joe Pizzimenti, Dan Scheman, and Jane Skolnick. Joe, are you on?
All right, I'm unmuted.
Yes,
Joe
yes.
Pizzimenti with CClean. First, thank you to the Business Council for allowing us to get our voice up to Albany. We appreciate it. So we haven't really stopped. We're commercial cleaning business. We provide healthy environments for healthcare facilities, schools, and other types of essential businesses. The first impact that we felt in mid-March was really supply chain. And now with the governmental mandate that businesses also have to provide PPE, I mean, it's almost impossible for us to source N95 masks, and I need to be able to protect my workers in order to avoid the liability claim that Ben had raised. And I understand that there's some action behind the scenes in the region to manufacture this PPE, but we just haven't seen it, and we don't know when supply is going to catch up. And with that increased demand of all general businesses having to provide this PPE, it's a concern for us, because it's our job to provide a healthy environment. How can we protect our own employees? That's our primary concern.
Okay, Joe, thank you very much. And obviously those are key things that we will be focusing on. Is Don Scheman in from Professional Protection
Yes, John,
Shield?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, Don, go ahead.
Okay, thanks so much for doing this. Don Scheman, everyone. Professional protection, work with a company, Legal Shield, 46-year company providing affordable legal consultation, identity theft protection to families and businesses around the U.S. I'm also fire safety and security training for about 15 years. Looking at the update recently to the New York executive order, I think we need solutions for small businesses to continue and survive through some more grants and low interest loans, which maybe can be more structured and organized in order of need and not relation or size, as time is available for the powers to be. Marketing assistance would also help with the reopen and reemergence. For those of us that are able to hold on, it's tragic that some will not be able to, and maybe some direction and assistance might be available to those who are suffering through this pandemic and will just not be able to sustain and come back. So we need to find a way to help each other for that. And lastly, if any contact with the Department of State for our training end of the business, we have all been shut down initially and battling to allow them to have us do remote learning to further job performance as well as revenue. They've denied us since, and to date, now making us essential, allowing us to bring groups of people in small rooms for 8 hours a day, which I think is not too responsible. If we do all of that and we check and balance everything, we might be able to help. Thanks,
Okay.
John.
Don, thank you very much. Our last 2 speakers that did register, I'm sorry, are Jane Skolnick and Carol Greenberg. Jane, are you on?
Yeah, I'm on. Can you hear me, John?
Thank you, Jane. You sure can.
First off, I know a lot of people have been thanking the Business Council, but I also want to stress that you guys have been great to kind of be across all businesses in our county here, both businesses, nonprofits, the parks, the whole variety. It's what's going to bring us all back. As everybody knows, Con Edison is in that category of essential workers, and we have been doing things with our employees to train them to respond in a healthful way, so to keep themselves healthy as well as the community at large. But most of the vast majority of the work we have been doing has been non-customer facing. And we are going to be making that next step where we will be doing customer facing work. We're there to support the developers who are trying to work, but our individual residents, and it's going to be a trial for all of us. We're doing training so that we can enter people's homes, but I think it's going to be a learning process for us all across the board. So thank you for everything you're doing to help us to get there.
Jane, thank you, and thank Con Edison again for the work that they're doing and being on the front lines as well. Our last speaker who had signed up before we go for, I think we'll be able to take at least a few questions from the chat room, is Carol Greenberg. Carol? Is Carol still on? Okay. Then I am going to move to the chat room. Again, we will ask people to keep it to the 90 seconds. The first person I will call on, and again, please give us your organization as well, is Michael Powers. Michael, are you still on?
Yes, I am. So I'm Michael Powers. I have the Arthur Murray Dance Studios in Westchester. God, my family for 62 years now. I'd like to thank the council, especially for the original PPP information, the webinars, they were fantastic. Couple questions, actually a couple things that I'd like for the council to do is, I know there's been talk of expanding the recommendations for what the PPP money is spent on, being that the government became a competitor as an employer with us, being that they could, staff could make more money unemployed than working. Another one, in basically following up everyone else who's been in with the arts, knowing where some of our businesses stand, because we do private lessons, group classes, and parties, but our private lessons are one-on-one, and we could do as little as 4 people in our space. So knowing where karate studios or personal trainers or anyone or music teachers, since the arts is the last phase, and my thoughts with Mr. Cuomo will be that he'll turn the valve off before we even get to phase 4. So if we can get an understanding of what our prospective place would be in the phases, maybe we could be classified as professional services if we're doing one-on-one type of instruction. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Ron Kamen? Is Ron Kamen still on?
There we go, John. Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, Ron.
First, thank you very much to the BCW. Outstanding work as always. Hearts and prayers to everybody struggling with health issues or the loss of a loved one. Earthkind Energy is a consulting firm. We represent commercial customers and clean energy processes that save them money. And specifically, everyone should take a look in terms of saving money at their energy cost on electricity, heating, and transportation. Together, we spend $61 billion a year on energy and those 3 forms of energy. Take a look at your number, take 10% to 30% of that number, and that's pretty much what everyone can save with $5 billion worth of New York State incentives and clean energy funds that are there for you. We help customers do that. Love to help you do it. There's a lot of resources we can point you to if you need any help with that. In terms of the state, it would be great to see the clean energy industry be back on its feet. Totally agree. We're ready to go. We need the safeguards in place, but clean energy has been put on hold for a couple of months now. Workers have been out, people have been down, so clearly it's time to start that back up with all the safety protocols and roll it out in a marketing way to make this transition. Thanks, John.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Ron. Janet Langstrom? Janet, are you still on?
Just unmuted. Can you hear
Yep,
me?
You're good to go, Janet. The floor
All
is
right.
yours.
Thank you so much. And thank you to the BCW. They've been playing a really important role for all of our industries. A shout out to Bud Hammer to turn on our air conditioning because we will be back. I wanted to echo what some of my colleagues have said about the arts, and that we have, the governor has put the arts and performing and visual in the phase 4. I'd like to point out that in Westchester and also in New York State, where I am the chair of Arts New York State, arts organizations are different. There's the Rye Arts Center, who can have a class of 10 kids in a clay setting. There's Arts Westchester, this building that opens to studios for artists. The last to open probably will be our performing arts groups, who are having a terrible time. No way to social distance in a theater without maybe 4 seats between people. But the arts should be looked at as holistically, so that artist studios can open, small classes can open, administrative offices can open as part of phase 2, and museums perhaps even phase 3, and last of all, the performing arts. So I think it needs to be looked at, and hope the Business Council can help us in redirecting some of those priorities.
Thank you, Janet. We definitely will make sure the task force focuses on that. And we do have one of the sectors of our task force is dealing with hospitality, tourism, the arts. So those comments are important. Before I call the next speaker, I also want to make sure everyone knows, and I know I speak for Marsha and the entire BCW staff, how thankful we are that Heidi Davidson from Galvanize Worldwide and our BCW board chair has joined us today. So Heidi, thank you, and thank you for everything you've done to help us as we've gone through this over these last few weeks. Is Cindy Rubino still on the call?
I am. Hi, everybody, and thank you very much, Business Council, for all the amazing things that you've been doing for everyone. We specialize, I'm with the YMCA of Central and Northern Westchester, and we specialize in childcare and day camp. And we've been providing first responder childcare at no cost to the families since this pandemic began. However, when it comes to the summer camp, we're considered a recreation organization. We're not considered a childcare organization. And I would argue that we are an essential childcare organization for families going back to work this summer. So we'd like to try to work toward getting us bumped up. We have a lot of organizations supporting that. So if we were viewed as childcare, things would open a lot more quickly for us.
Okay, thank you very much, Cindy. I appreciate it. Craig Ruoff, are you still on? Craig, are you still on?
Hang on. Yep, I'm still here, and I've got to jump in a second. I apologize. Very quickly, Craig Ruoff, Senior Director of Brokerage with Cushman & Wakefield. I've spent most of my career working with businesses that lease space, helping them either find space or more often helping them find ways to save on space. So you can imagine how busy I am now with free consulting, helping companies decide what to do with their leases. What I really wanted to bring up was a concept that I heard a little bit about. I got to participate or be a fly on the wall on a webinar, and Lawrence Silverstein brought up something that's being done in Lower Manhattan, where a number of deep-pocketed companies, including his, have funded an organization to provide money to help smaller businesses with their rent. I did not get to learn a lot about it, and I'm going to be digging into that more to hear more, but I thought that was a really interesting concept, and I don't know if something like that could be broached in our neck of the woods, because I know there's a lot of companies out there that are having trouble with their rent, and there are options, but not as many options as we hoped. I'm spending all my time learning how to help people as best I can. And that's it.
Great.
I've got to jump. Thank you very much. This has
Thank-
been wonderful. Thank you so much to the Business Council.
Thanks, Craig. Folks, we're going to stay on just for a few more minutes. I'm going to try to get to as many people as putting questions in the chat room. Also, if you have additional comments that you would like the task force to address or focus on, please send them to Andra Horsch, who is our Vice President for State Government and Affairs. Andra's email is in the chat room, but it's ahorsch@thebcw.org. So again, please, as you think about what was discussed today or things come to mind, please send any comments or ideas or suggestions for the task force to review to Andra. Thank you very much on that. I'm going to now call on, hold on one second, my chat room just froze. Dwight McLeod, are you still on?
I am.
Okay, the floor is yours, sir.
Good, thank you. Thank you very much for putting this on, Marsha and John. The question I have, both my wife and I are consultants, and we need to be in the room with people when we're doing the things that we do. Until we get back to testing and tracing and tracking, we're never sure what we're coming home with. So the question that we would pose to them is, prior to any of this going forward, there needs to be a really clear-cut path, that says we'll stay safe and not be in harm's way by just doing our job and getting back to normal. That's it.
Okay, well, I think you're speaking for a lot of people in a lot of different sectors, Dwight, and obviously that is something that both the state and the county obviously have to focus on, and we'll continue to do all we can to make sure that we get all of that information out to all BCW members as it comes forward. And again, just because we have tried at the BCW from day one of this crisis to get out information that we think is pertinent and informative, please look for our daily updates that come out every day. If you're not getting them, let us know. Also, if you go onto our website, which is the bcw.org, you'll see we have a dedicated page for COVID-19 issues and updates. So again, that will be a great resource that I hope you'll share with your colleagues and your employees as well. And then finally, we want to make sure that, because it's been one of the most rewarding things we've seen, we honor those folks who are really using their resources, using their experiences, and using their creativity to think outside of the box in some cases to help the community. And every Wednesday we do our COVID-19 heroes. And it's just, again, been so rewarding to just see how everybody has stepped in. I am going through the chat box now. I believe we have caught everybody who asked to speak and ask a question. For those folks who did register and might not have joined us, we'll reach out to them. So make sure that we get their statement as well. And again, as always, this task force is going to be ongoing for what we consider the short term, which is through the end of this calendar year. So again, we are going to want to continue to get information from you. We're going to want to be able to get updates from you. And more importantly, we're going to want to tap in to your experiences and your expertise as well. So we will have other town hall meetings that the task force will put out over the next few weeks and months as we reemerge and reopen Westchester. Thank you all. Marsha, I know you want to close it out. Oop, you got to go off mute.
Unmute. Thank you. Thank you, John, for everything you've done. And thank you all for participating, for reaching out, for being engaged and involved. And we just wish everyone to stay healthy and to stay safe and have a great day. Thank you all.
Thank you all. Be safe. Thank you to Amanda De Palma and Yvette Molina for helping us build the infrastructure to get this done. And as always, Linda Tyler, who heads up our membership department. Take care, everybody.
Thank you, John and Marsha. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Amanda.
Nice job, John and Marsha. Thank you.
Great job, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
Do
you want me to close the door on the way out?
Don't let the door.
That's it.
Set the alarm and close the door as you leave.
Hey. Hey, he's
Clean
going
up those
out,
drinks over there.
guys.
Funny.